Okay, we're gonna call this August 5th meeting to order. First on the agenda is our invocation with Pastor Abadan Shah with the Liberty Baptist Church. Thank you, sir, for being here tonight.
Thank you. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we begin this meeting with prayer as you are the source of all truth and wisdom and knowledge and discernment. You not only created life, but you also teach us how to live life. So God, we begin by saying thank you. And today, as our elected officials are gathered once again to conduct the business, Lord, we pray that your hand would be upon them. Give them all they need to make our community the best place on earth. And Father, as they're taking care of the business of our community, we pray for your hand upon them, their needs, their families, their health. God, we pray that you would bless them. And Lord, we pray for our community that we will be united, that we will love peace, prosperity, and a place where we can keep living the life, a life that pleases you. And Lord, we pray that a place where we can keep shining for Jesus Christ. Finally, God, we pray for our servicemen and women, both here and abroad. As the world is facing some difficult times, we just pray, Lord, for your guiding and protecting hands upon them. Be also with their loved ones. Let them never lack for anything. And Lord, let them always know how much we appreciate them as a nation. So once again, God, we pray for your hand of blessing upon us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, just want to take a minute just to say thank you to all the emergency personnel. The storm we had Saturday night affected pretty much our whole county, and all of our volunteer departments and our service people from throughout the county did a tremendous job of getting the trees off the road and making sure everybody stayed safe. And just want to give a shout out to those individuals and the departments that put themselves out in the weather and did those things and got us back in shape pretty quickly. Renee, you have an introduction for us tonight?
I do. So good afternoon, everyone. I would like to ask Mr. Ferdinand Rouse to come up front for me, please. So Mr. Rouse is our new Economic Development Director as of July 15th of 2024, and we are so excited to have you on board, and we are looking forward to the good things that you'll bring to Vance County. Is there anything that you want to say?
Oh, no, I'm just thankful for the opportunity to serve you all and to have people that are interested in advancing Vance County. I hope to do that with the help of everyone in this room and on the council and you, county manager. So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, we have our public comments. We have 7 people who have signed up tonight, so comments will be limited to 3 minutes. So you'll have 3 minutes to speak on it. I'll go down the list. When you get to the front, state your name and your address. Dan. Yes. I'm sorry. Jonathan.
Leadership Vance.
Oh, okay. I went past it. Okay. Let's go back one time. All right. Let's recognize the Leadership Vance team. And Sandra, you're here?
Say you do.
This group looks a lot bigger than it does when I'm with them during the day. So I think they got a few extra ones. I think we have everybody here tonight, but maybe one, Beth Townsend with Duke Energy, and you know what she's doing. She's preparing for Debbie. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners, Manager. We're here again. It seems like we're here every month with Leadership Vance, but we're back again. I'm Sandra Wilkerson, the president of the Henderson-Vance County Chamber of Commerce, and this year in our Leadership Vance, we have 17 participants. We are near the end of our year. We spend about 7 months together, and we get to know each other really well. This group of individuals come from various businesses throughout the county and the city, not knowing everyone or each other or hardly anybody in the class. And when they end up, they're not only good friends, but they're community partners. They find themselves serving on boards, commissions, and lots of other good things. But we plan to spend County Day, the entire day with you on Monday. Thank you, Kelly Grissom, for all of your support that you give us every year. Ms. Perry, we thank you for the support that you're giving this class, and we look forward to spending Monday. I understand Mr. Nobles is going to be traveling with us,
He will.
so we'll take him. He's okay. I'd like for each of them to just introduce themselves and just tell where they are, where they work. And we'll start over here with Xavier.
Wife.
A residential company.
Residential appraisal company, Hargrove Appraisals.
That's good. to know.
Executive Assistant to the City Manager. Susan Abbott, Ambassador for the Chamber.
David Figueroa, Benchmark Community Bank.
Crystal Fox, Vance Community Company.
Luke Stark, with William L. Stark and Company.
Tim Twisdale, Fire Chief, City of Henderson.
Lance Stallings, Vance Charter School.
Tanya Wilson, Chamber of Commerce.
Kim Lewis, Henderson Police Department.
Hey, Kim, get those together.
Gary Van, the Young Dispatch.
I'm Laura Pendergraft. I'm a real estate agent at Century 21.
Alicia Cameron, over Vance County.
Richard Davis, work for A.R. Perry Corporation. Rick, you know everything about Henderson.
I'm Suzanne Elliott from M.R. Williams.
Okay, and I cannot leave this podium without reminding everyone that Mr. Kelly always likes for me to say that 33 years ago, he was in the first Leadership Vance class and helped start it. So that's not that long ago.
No, it's not. You know, I can never remember. It was David Cobbs, who was not David Cobbs, it was David, who was the agriculture extension person, David. What was his name? David, not David Cobbs, but anyway, David worked with extension. That's how we got it started 30-some years ago.
So I'm sure you still have your plaque on the wall, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward to spending the day with you all on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll go back to the public comments to get things back in order. First, like I said, when you come forward, if you'll state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. First, register is Jimmy Barrier.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Jimmy Barry with the Vance County Republican Party, and I am here to ask the council to get involved by asking the proper authorities to remove any political signs that are outside the date which they are placed on our roadways. It is littering by general statutes that when they're placed on the roadways prior to the dates that they can be placed, that any of the citizens out here can actually take these signs, political signs up and throw them away as littering. And I'll give you the dates which you can do that, okay? And this is this is a letter to the editor that will be printed in the Henderson Daily Dispatch, I hope pretty soon, but I'd like to read that. As the chairman of Vance County Republican Party, I am pleading that the Republican Party in Vance County will continue to scrupulously follow the laws of the state of North Carolina and rules of the North Carolina Board of Elections concerning placement of signs in political right-of-way. I challenge the Democratic Party to make the same pledge to the law-abiding citizens. By law, September the 5th, 2024 is the first day political signs are allowed within the right-of-way of the road. Does not apply to signs on private property. For the upcoming November 5th, 2024 elections, But as you have seen throughout Vance counties, the Democratic Party candidates have already placed their signs within the right-of-ways and blatantly violating this law. This is not an oversight in their part. Each violation is a Class 1 misdemeanor under North Carolina Statute 136-32 and is considered literally. So, and I have all of that right here for you. Even though North Carolina law entitles anyone to remove and destroy the signs prior to September the 5th, 2024, the Vance County Republican Party will not damage campaign signs of Democratic candidates. However, the Board of Elections, Henderson City Police, Vance County Sheriff, and the District Attorney's Office will be notified of each continuing violation of this law. Additionally, an activist group from Atlanta, Georgia, associated with George Soros, is sponsoring Vance County election signs which read "Black Votes Matter," which these signs reprehensibly racist, divisive, and inappropriate. We will not remove these signs either, nor will we counter with "White Votes Matter," "Asian Votes Matter," "Hispanic Votes Matter," or any other votes that matter. But Democrats and Republicans alike should ask themselves in Atlanta, Georgia, group, why would anyone bring signs like that to divide our community? I don't understand it. And so I'm just asking you guys to make some kind of plea to adhere to the law and to remove them. Thank you very much.
All right. Next, we have John Maddox.
Good evening. I'm John Maddox. I'm the program director at Vance Recovery. We're an opioid treatment program. I wanted to make the community and the commissioners aware that we are moving to a new location. Sadly, we're moving away from the Golden Skillet, but we are moving to a state-of-the-art facility in the old Fastenal building. There'll be more to come. We have got Dr. Morris, who's here tonight. He has been given the Lifetime Achievement Award by the National Association of Opioid Treatment. Our medical director, Charles Browning, is an internationally recognized expert on crisis prevention. We've got 2 RNs, we've got 6 LPNs, we've got 10 master's level counselors, and every day we are fighting the twin epidemics of opiate use disorder and opiate overdose and death. You have a great resource in your community. We would love to begin the conversation. I hate that Dr. Morris is here to hear this, but we have clearly done a lousy job in educating the community on the important work that we are doing. We are the gold standard in treatment for opiate use disorder. We have about a 50% success rate, which in the field of addiction treatment is crazy. And I mean crazy good. Now, I will tell you, all of our successes are invisible. We got a real tough marketing campaign because all of my people who are not using, working, their families giving them a key to the house again, they ain't telling nobody they come to Vance Recovery because of the stigma. So all of my successes are invisible, and sadly, all of my failures seem to come with red and blue lights. Right now we are working with the sheriff and we're providing medication to protect the county from lawsuits. We're just doing that. Dr. Morris has just said, let's do it. Probably would be a great way to spend some of the opioid settlement funds, but I would just love to invite everyone to come on and see what we're doing. We're a little bashful about our location, 510 Dabney Drive. It ain't the most beautiful place, but we'll be kind of thrilled with our new location at 932 West Andrews. So I look forward to conversations. If you call our clinic, you'll get my cell phone as the after hours. Just call. Be happy to talk to you anytime, day or night. if you have a family member, if you have a person who is unresponsive and they need some treatment, just call. I will answer the phone. Now, if you don't leave a message, I probably won't call you back. But if you leave a message, I will call you back. Thank you.
You moving into the cross, sir? Pardon? You moving into the Crossroads Shopping Center?
It's across the street, behind the Waffle House, where Fastenal used to be.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Lisa A. Baltimore.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Baltimore. I live at 1520 White Farm Lane, Manson, North Carolina. I'm giving each of you a packet containing names of 20 solar farms that are close to Bullock Solar LLC. If you look at each of the solar farms in Vance County that I have included, you will notice they are very secluded from homes. None have deeded easements through the center of the solar farm to residential communities. The proposed Car Lake Solar has 70 plus or minus residential homes adjoining the property on 3 sides: Jacksontown Road, Bullocksville Park Road, and Eddie White Road. 2 parcels were just timbered. They were rezoned by the board July 1st, and they are now included in the proposed Car Lake Solar. My parcel, 3.87 acres adjoining the proposed Car Lake Solar, had a tax assessment increase of 125%. My appeal has not had a response. White Farm Lane travels through the middle of the Cypress Creek Renewable Project. It is my deeded ingress and egress. There are 42 deeded property owners at the end of that 1.5 mile gravel road. Again, I state, I found no solar farm with a deeded easement through the middle to any residential property in Vance County. The board will be setting a precedence if they allow a solar farm to be built on both sides of White Farm Lane with deeded ingress and egress to 46 property owners, along with the 70 plus or minus homes that are bordering all 3 other sides. In conclusion, I ask that you deem this site unsuited for Car Lake Solar by CCR or any other solar development, with North Carolina being among the top 5 states in the United States producing solar power. Does Vance County need another solar farm? Thank you for listening to me. You have my packets. They came from your GIS with the solar farms. There is one solar farm that has a deeded right away to a cemetery, and that's Bullock Solar Farm. All of those solar farms were listed on the Bullock Solar LLC site on the internet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baltimore. Next, we have Susan Grimes.
Good evening. I am here. My name is Susan Grimes. Hi, I'm one of the property owners. My grandparents were Kemp and Ruth Talley on Spring Valley Lake Road. And I am here on behalf of myself and all of my neighbors on Spring Valley Lake Road. If I can have you all stand up for me. So the reason I've come is because there has been a recent purchase of some land on Spring Valley Lake Road. And there's been a lot of clearing of the land by the person that just recently purchased it. They've encroached on some of our land as well in cutting down their trees. But my bigger concern is that this person is looking to develop the land under the guise of it being a farm. Spring Valley Lake Road is only zoned for agricultural and residential purposes. It is not zoned at all for commercial purposes. The person that that is doing this clearing says that she wants to make this like Hill Ridge Farms. And if any of you have been to Hill Ridge Farms, and if you haven't, I can give you some pictures of what Hill Ridge Farm looks like. It's in Youngsville. It's really kind of an amusement park of sorts in the country, on a country road. So the Hill Ridge Farm, they do a Christmas light show where they'll have cars along in the road waiting to drive through to see Christmas lights. They have vendors there for food. There is a country store on Hill Ridge Farm. There is a train on Hill Ridge Farm. There's a splash pad on Hill Ridge Farm. Kettle corn stands. I could go on. These are not agricultural items. There's an entry fee to get into Hill Ridge Farm. It is a for-profit farm location. The land on Spring Valley is not meant to have any sort of commercial properties that would make money in that sort of a way. So my concern is that, you know, I don't want the zoning to change. And I want you all to be on notice, to be aware of what it could be on the horizon of what someone wants to do on that road. And I ask that you just take into consideration that any sort of proposed development or construction that may come from this person that is saying that they are working on having a farm, understand it is not really a farm. This land has been in my parents' family for over 100 years. And all of these individuals that live on this road, they call that home. There's also an event center there where they have weddings, and they are allowed to have them until 11 p.m. at night with music. There are horns that are blown from the tractors and the trains. All of this would be noise. This would be traffic. It would be congestion on a road in an area that is beloved by its neighbors and should be kept as such. So I just ask for you all to please take that into consideration again. If the property, this moves forward, or the person decides they want to move forward, and just understand that this isn't really a farm that we may be looking at coming to Spring Valley Lake Road. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grimes. Next, we have Dolores Talley.
That's my mother. So I was told that we needed a designated person for a group. So I think that I'm just speaking for both of us.
Okay,
So you can
that
pick her off.
She doesn't need to speak. She's basically saying the same
Yes,
thing.
yes, I'm speaking on behalf of
All right.
her and the
Okay.
neighbors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Alan Brossois, I'm sorry.
My name is Alan Brossois. I live on 46 Wild Fox Run. I am a neighbor that abuts Lisa Baltimore's property, and my property is adjacent to the Car Lake Solar Farm. I'm here to sort of add on to some of what Lisa has said. I know that she has requested that the county in the approval process deny this solar farm from being installed. Some of us, to your new development person, if you decide that this is going to go ahead, there's a lot of us that, or a few of us in the neighborhood that aren't against businesses doing business. We're not against the tranche of contracts that have to be put together for this project to be successful for all of those players. What we're having an issue with is that we do not have a seat at the table. We are not part of the contractual tranche of companies that's getting put together to make this project work. And there are concerns that we have, one having to do with the condition of White Farm Lane. It's very thin. It's, you know, it's designated as being 10 feet wide. Emergency vehicles and we, or UPS trucks and we can't pass each other without getting into the, you know, into the ditches and the dirt. And we would hope that if this project goes through, that there would be some, that the county would act as our advocate to help get some of these things corrected. Two other things that we're concerned about are environmental pieces. One of them is that the solar panels themselves are black in color. They absorb heat, and 500 acres of these could create a localized heat barrier. And that would make could make some of our properties hotter than they are now. I mean, for an example, my property at 91 degrees has an ambient temperature somewhere in the 101 to 105 range, and I'd hate to have to go out there at 110, 115. The other thing is that we're concerned about some of the runoff. The land is all farmland right now. It's covered with tobacco today. Last year, it was covered with soybean and grass, and it's the roots of the plants that keep the soil on the property so that it erode down into the streams, et cetera, and then get into the lake. So, you know, we'd like some of these things at least addressed. I'm not looking to make egregious settlement or egregious penalties to the people that are putting all this together. It's just that we would like them at least to be addressed satisfactorily before it gets approved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, last we have Jan Fletcher.
This is going to be short. I'm Jan Fletcher. I live at 255 Crestwood Road, Henderson, North Carolina. I'm here representing the Spring Valley Lake Road community, and it's already been so eloquently explained before me. I just have a couple of other points I'd like to make. My 91-year-old mother lives right across the street from this proposed commercial development in a quiet, almost all retiree neighborhood. And we are opposed to that. We don't think that's going to be a good thing for all those people that have lived there for most of their lives, paid their houses off, and now see the property values drop because we have traffic and noise and all kinds of things going on that would not be good for those people in that neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that completes our public comments for tonight. Next on the agenda tonight is Frankie Nobles with our employee engagement team.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually going to let Miss Debbie Scott come up and introduce our employee of the month this month.
Thank you, Frankie. Frankie serves as our chairperson of the employment engagement team. To our commissioners, good evening to you. It's good to see you. Mrs. County Manager, Mrs. Perry, Ms. Stephanie, it's good to see all of you. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to do this presentation. I'm going to ask if Ms. Janie Martin would come back. I work at the sheriff's office, and our nominee for tonight works at the sheriff's office also. Come on up, Ms. Martin. And I'm proud tonight to say that, and also Sheriff Brain, God bless you, good for seeing you. I'm also proud tonight to say that she's our senior administrative assistant. And one of the reasons why, or several reasons why she's been nominated, is because when it comes to teamwork, Janie never hesitates to get involved with being of assistance, regardless of the countless tasks she oversees. You can guarantee a responsive action and resolute from Janie. When it comes to initiative, Janie is always on top of whatever needs to be handled. When other employees are busy attending to citizens or other tasks, Janie eagerly fills in without complaint or request. She's very professional, and she doesn't cut any slack with our staff, including Sheriff Brain. When it comes to attendance, Janie is always dependable. She often comes in early and puts in time outside of regular operating hours. When it comes to above and beyond, even when Janie is off out of the office, she's always reachable as she continually shows her dedication to the job. Janie is a highly valuable employee to our sheriff's office and an asset, and possesses a long list of certifications to maintain her position. And Miss Janie, on behalf of the Employment Engagement Team, I'd like to say congratulations to you. Thank you for your optimism every day, and thank you for your commitment to excellence. God bless you. This is a Sheriff. I believe Sheriff Brain, that you like some comments, Sheriff Brain?
Janie started with the Vance County Sheriff Office in the division of the detention center in 2013. Then under the leadership of Sheriff Peter White, she came his administrative assistant in 2016. You heard the old saying, do you want to speak to the boss or the woman in charge? She's the woman in charge. She's the one who keeps our organization running, without a doubt, whether she's Friday, Saturday, night, daytime, I can call Miss Martin any day, any hour, and she's going to respond to me and get me what I need. And like Miss Scott said, she's not afraid to tell the sheriff, no, sheriff, we ain't going to do that. But that's what I need. A good manager needs someone to watch their back. And Miss Martin has watched my back since I've been sheriff since 2018. Miss Martin, thank you for your work.
We're talking about zoning changes.
Right, let me talk to Sherry first. One, two, three. Let me get another one. Mama looking away. One, two. Okay.
Thank you. Next, we have Wakia Macon, our Cooperative Extension Director, and I believe you have someone new to introduce to us.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Wakia Macon. I'm the County Extension Director of Vance County Cooperative Extension. First of all, I want to wish you all a happy National Farmers Market Week. Wait, don't go. So many things to announce. Happy National Farmers Market Week. We're really excited to see that on the agenda tonight. Cooperative Extension supports the farmers market. There are two big activities going on this week. So we have story time at the market on Wednesdays from 8 to 1 p.m. And we are partnering with the library for that. So if you have parents of children ages 0 to 5 or daycares that you know in the area, please get them to come out this Wednesday. We also are celebrating this Saturday, so we would love to see each and every one of you out there. We will have food trucks, face painting, games, education opportunities, arts and crafts, and of course, lots of vendors. And thanks to Triangle North Healthcare Foundation, we have received funding to do a double bucks program and match anyone who has EBT, senior vouchers, or Sunbucks. We are going to do a up to $20 match for purchases at the farmers market. So we're really excited about that. We would like to thank you all for your continued support of Cooperative Extension. And yes, I'm very happy to introduce our new extension agent, agriculture, horticulture, and field crops, Michael Ellington. He is a Vance County native, so it's always good to have Vance County folks working with us. Hopefully he'll be here a very long time. Michael started at East Carolina. He went on to do his master's at Virginia Tech, and then he came back to this area and he founded a small native plant nursery in Granville County, and now he raises hogs and poultry. Michael did participate in the Master Gardener Volunteer Program and serving on the Granville County ALC, so we had to get him to come back to Vance County and do some of that stuff here. And now he's working with us to ensure food system resiliency, so we're doing a lot in the areas of access to healthy foods, just to address some of the things that are most important to us, like food security, also chronic diseases. And of course, we're trying to increase youth interest in agriculture. Michael started on June 10th, and I've had him hit the ground running. And so we've been doing a lot of things that I will allow him to share right now. And if you have any questions or thoughts or suggestions for us, feel free to share them at the moment.
Thank you, Dr. Macon. Thank you, board, for having me here. In the interest of brevity, I'll breeze through this statement. She gave me a great introduction. I want to tell you what's coming up next. I will be focusing heavily on the Vance County Regional Farmers Market. There are 3 areas that I think we can address at Extension. They are food security, youth development, and chronic illness. And the easiest ways to address those are by supporting agriculture. So for that reason, my primary goal is to support the growth and longevity of the Vance County Regional Farmers Market. We're going to be able to lead events. We're going to have educational workshops. We're going to have community growth. We're going to have all sorts of wonderful things happening in that. So I'd love for you to all to stay in touch. If you're wondering what else we have on the horizon, stop by the office, come talk to us, give us a call, or come out August 7th or August 10th or any Saturday to the market. And anything else to add? No? We'd love to see you there. No? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay. Next, we have Linda Frederickson and Kamika Williams with Vance, Franklin Granville Vance Smart Start.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us tonight. We're actually here just to share some great news about what's going on with Franklin Granville Vance Smart Start. And I see some of you have actually served on our board, so I want to thank you for that right now. So a lot of people, there's a lot going on right now with children. I've been over, I heard someone mention Franklin County just a minute ago, and I work in all 3 counties. And so been a lot going on talking about education and funding or lack of funding. But I want to say that in true, data, that learning takes place while that mom is pregnant. And so we do programs, 0, they say 0 because it's during the prenatal time up to age 5, because the vocabulary, the learning, the brain develops the fastest prior to even going to school. So we work with programs that sometimes people will say, oh yeah, I've been there. That's that child care center over at such and such. Or they'll say, yeah, I know about Head Start. And I know it gets confusing when you talk about FGV this and FGV that, but Smart Start collaborates with those programs, but we are very different in that we are not a center, but we help centers. We have adolescent parenting programs. We have programs for kindergarten transitions. We have programs, and my program, my job is actually a brand new job. I started in September of last year, but it's brand new because it was not already an existing job with Franklin Granville Vance Smart Start, and it was to network. And so I've been spending this year learning everything I can about Franklin, Granville, and Vance counties, but in particular, with Vance, networking with those agencies. I'm going to leave some information with you tonight about a lot of data that you probably may have already looked at, but I want to put a copy in your hand of the Vance County Data Report for Early Childhood. That's a very large population here in Vance County. Young mothers, higher than a state average of babies dying. And those are things we want to address and help with. So that's part of my role. And the other part of my role is we have done an excellent job networking with centers and child care centers at homes. What I'm doing is providing resources for families that may choose to keep their children at home or may not have that option or may not can afford the child care or the waiting list. There's lots of waiting lists out there. So we have a resource center at our office. It's right across the street from the hospital. Parents can come in anytime. We can work out a schedule. You can come in, I'll coordinate with you. I can lend you resources. So think about it, about early childhood resources, like a library, but not just books. So we can do math manipulatives, science, early reading. There's the other thing is networking. One of the stories I do want to share is early on, we had do a car seat program, and Kamiko really knows more about that than I do. But we had that program, and someone came in to get a car seat. And in order to get a car seat, we can't just hand you a car seat. We have to train you how to properly use it. In case you didn't know, you have to go to 4 days of training to do all the different car seats. So we do that. We have staff that do that. But while they were there, they found out this multiple needs of this family member who had just from another county, had 3 children under age 5 come with her. Well, she was basically told, the children were brought to her in the middle of the night from another county, one basket for everything for all these 3 kids. You're going to get a voucher for childcare. You're going to get this, you're going to get this. But no one said that maybe 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 weeks. So she called me, and although I'm not the person that does that resource, I saw what she needed because she was about to have just breakdown. She says, I've already been to this place and that place and this one, and they've sent me. So what I did is I sat down with her and I made those calls, and I just became her kind of one-on-one, like, take a deep breath. I'm going to help you get there. If I have to drive you there or whatever, we need to do that, because it led into a chain reaction of events. So that's what I want to do. If someone comes to us, I will make sure that they get to the person they need to get to. But we are doing lots of things. I'm excited in this position. I have a background in education. I was a public school educator for 30 years, and I've worked at the children's home in Sonic Comfort Children in the past as the education coordinator. And now I'm so thrilled to be a part of Franklin Graham Vance Smart Start. So we wanted you to see our faces, kind of see what we're doing. And now I want to introduce Kamiko Williams, because some of you said, now, we're almost 30 years old. Some of you may know the days going back when Carolyn Paler, we lost her. She passed a few years ago, but she was kind of she started it all. And Kamiko was one of the first 3 employees. Am I correct? Or the 4th one? She said 5th one, but one of the first few, because we're getting ready to have 30 years in just a few years. But she's been in a different role. Some of you in this area probably know the name Gary Dakey. Gary Dakey worked for us. He retired. I don't know his love of the little libraries, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, that he's going to come back and, help out with some of those. But Kamiko has taken on that role. And so I want to make sure you see the face of Franklin Graham Vance Smart Start. If it's okay, I'm going to leave some handouts. Do you mind just passing them around? And I'll leave my card. I am leaving some data, but she has some other information she wants to share. I just want to say that we are very, very excited, and we look forward to working very closely with Vance County. Thank you for what you do.
Good evening. As Dr. Frederickson mentioned, my name is Kamiko Williams, and I am the Program Research and Development Coordinator for Franklin Graham Vance Smart Start. So in my role, one of the things that I strive to do is make sure that, like Dr. Frederickson said, we educate the community, make sure that they are aware of the various services that we provide. And one of the handouts that you have is our end of the year report. And it pretty much goes over all of the ways that our funding has gone into Vance County, Franklin, Granville, and Vance, and the way we try to make sure that our families are served as best as possible. We are now facing a childcare crisis where we have a lot of our centers and our family childcare homes either closing or closing different classrooms, either due to lack of staff or lack of funding. So one of the things that we strive to do is to make sure that we support our early child care providers in any way necessary, whether it's with technical assistance, making sure they can get that additional income. Because whether or not you realize it, for an average pay for a child care worker is about $14. If they go to work at Costco, Starbucks, Hobby Lobby, they can get anywhere from $17 to $18. $14 is not a living wage. And most of these childcare providers don't have insurance. So you compound the fact that they only make about $14 an hour and they don't have health insurance. That's an issue. When COVID hit, these were the people who we looked to care for our children, to make sure that our children were kept safe because they were essential workers who had to go to work. And so if it wasn't for our child care providers being there in the crux, being in there in the ditches, serving these families, where would we be? We're going to find that if we don't pitch in and help our child care providers, give them what they need, we're going to have a huge issue with more issues of children becoming hurt or worse. And as Dr. Frederickson mentioned, one of the other programs that I do coordinate is Safe Kids for Vance County. And what we strive to do is educate families on unintentional and intentional injuries or death. So that could be anything with car seat install, water safety, bike helmet, and we do offer car seats for families. This particular program does not have a funding stream. We only get funds through grants that I'm writing or from donations. So if a family comes and they desperately need a car seat, if they don't have the $40, we will not turn them away. But the requirement is that they have to have that car seat installed by our certified car seat installer. So the goal is just to make sure that everyone is aware that even if we don't have the service in-house, we are the people you can call and we will point you in the right directions to find the resources. And all of our services are free of charge. So anytime a family comes and they have needs for various things, they don't have to come out of pocket for them. Just like Dr. Frederickson said, if we don't have it, we'll get them to the right place where they need to get it. So again, thank you this evening for your time, and I appreciate if you have any questions. I think our contact information is there. So you all have a good one.
I just want to share that the governor is going to announce that September is Smart Start Month. So please find that time to look into all the things that Smart Start's doing across the state. We are a nonprofit. We do receive some state funds. Very little federal funds run through us to other agencies. So we do a lot of things on our own to try to get donations and support, but we don't turn people away. Thank you, and we appreciate what you do.
Can I ask you a question? You said something about car seat training. How long did you say it takes for someone to come in with a car seat? Did you say?
Yeah, it's 4 days. We just had a
To
group.
get to get the training,
the
it's
person
4
getting the
days.
car seat.
But if someone comes in and they say, I need a car seat, we can go ahead and schedule. We prefer they make an appointment because we don't have a lot of staff on hand. But we could get someone probably pretty quickly within the day to get that car seat installed. We just don't hand them a car seat because heaven forbid, they take the car seat, they put it in incorrectly, and there's an accident. So we want to make sure that when they leave, that car seat is installed correctly. But it doesn't take them
4 days. How many hours? How many hours?
to get the car seat installed.
The training, you said 4 days. How many hours?
It's an all-day process. It's from 8 to 5 for 4 days. If you want to become a trained certified car seat installer, it's a 4-day, 8 to 5 training. But if you want to,
Car seat installer.
right, but if you want to get a car seat, you just come to the office
Okay.
and we can install it. It does not take all day for that. No, sir. Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank y'all. Okay, Logan, we'll talk about the Henderson Vance Industrial Park.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board and staff. Logan Parsons with LKC. I do have before you, want to talk about the Henderson Vance Industrial Park, the project that's been going on out there, finishing the roadways and the utilities at that park. You've had a contract in place, and your contractor is Triangle Grading and Paving. I think they've done a wonderful job, and the project is basically done. What we have is a change order in front of you. The change order does two things. It'll act as the final adjusting change order on the project. There were some quantities, it was a unit price job, so some quantities were under, some quantities were over. Overall, quantities are adjusted at the end prior to final payment. One thing, kind of most of the change order, most of the cost comes from the additional labor and equipment required by the contractor
to install the section of force main along Martin Creek Road. There were several fiber optic lines that appeared. I think they're pretty new, actually. They run parallel. You have kind of a limited right of way there between along the edge of the shoulder of the road. You have a gravity sewer line. You have an existing force main. And then all the fiber lines were right in line on the back of the right of way where we were trying to install the new force main. There was nowhere that we could shift the new force main. So the contractor was forced to hand dig a lot of it and just work with getting the line in place of where it was shown. So that's most of the cost, total change order, 25,710. So $25,000. It is, this project is EDA grant funded, commerce funds, and then there's some county matching dollars in it. So we're recommending you consider this change order for approval, and then we'll proceed with closeout. But I'm here for questions.
Were all of those change orders with the rate schedule done consistent with the contract?
Yes, sir. We've reviewed the change order and recommend, and prepared it in accordance with the contract.
Thank you. Any other questions? What would be the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve change order.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you. We'll proceed and get that one finished up.
I'm gonna go ahead and call the Water District Board to order. And I believe we have a change order there also.
Yeah, I guess it's change order night. The one for the Water District is actually for the Phase 1B project. It is the Kittrell tank that's been under construction for a little while. It's been exciting. It's good to see. If you haven't driven by it lately, it's bright white, new paint on it now. It looks really good. The contractor there is Pittsburgh Tank and Tower Group. They've been mobilized for a couple weeks now. What we have in front of you is some additional cost for several repairs that were made or need to be made while the tank is offline before it gets placed back online. Just for record, like the tank was built in 1970, actually long before Vance County took over the system. So it was one that you've inherited. The project's been planned for a while. The tank has not been drained since long before y'all took over the system. It's not drained mean taken offline for inspection or cleaning. What we found after it was taken offline were several of the welds inside the tank they needed repairs. So they were able to do that with what they call a patch plate, where they take on inside the tank, they grind it down, they'll weld a new steel plate on the inside and then touch it up prior to painting. So they thought there was going to be a lot of those. They ended up being only one patch plate, but they made a lot of weld repairs, which was good. Most of the costs associated with this change order is inside of the middle pipe that goes up to the tank is another pipe that is associated with the overflow. That pipe was completely deteriorated and not usable. So the contractor has already taken it out. And what this cost is removal, replacement, and repainting that pipe inside of inside of that column. And it's, for record, it's like a 30-inch pipe, and we're replacing a 6-inch pipe inside of there. That's the length of the tower. It's just about 130 feet long up through the middle. So they'll put it inside, weld it up, and then climb inside of that 30-inch and paint it and coat it as part of the project. So that's most of the cost. There was two other things, ladder guard and hinge protection. The ladder guard is an added safety feature outside that doesn't have it now. It's actually installed. They're using it during it, but for the project, but the contractor said if you want to keep it, it's a good thing to have. It's another added layer of protection on a water tower to keep just people from climbing it that aren't authorized to. And then there's a fall grate protection, which actually goes inside the bowl. This is just an added safety measure for future maintenance on the tank. So we think this project's going really well. We're excited to get it, excited to see it. It's almost done. Cost is certainly more than we would like to see, but it's unfortunately, it's kind of it's the circumstances and where it's at and what they're having to do to replace the pipe. But it's the time to do it with it being offline and you having some funding in place to do it.
That change orders for $52,320. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the change order. And 50 years. 50 years it's never been touched. What is the average life expected, service work as far as tower, tanks like that should be maintained or maintenance
Every 10 years, you should expect to have to do a decent amount of maintenance as far as painting and coatings. You do that to protect the
do that to
pipes.
keep from doing what we're having to do because of now, but
Every couple years, you're washing it out, doing pressure washing on it, just cleaning it, every couple years. But 10 years, you can expect to spend, a pretty sizable amount of money just in paintings and coatings. 20 to 25 years, you're stripping it down to bare metal and regoing.
lucky
But
that we got by as cheap as we did.
yeah,
Do,
I motion to approve.
do we have a motion and a second? Do we have, is our current provider maintaining our other tanks to that level?
that's a good
That's
question.
something-
Southern Corrosion. Southern Corrosion does your inspections and maintenance now. I think that's who you contract with.
Okay.
I don't know right off of what.
Okay, just
one
something we
lasted.
need to pay attention to. Okay, all right. So we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next you have a Phase 1B bond resolution.
Yes, so the other item on there, the bond resolution, that is associated with the Phase 1B project. Specifically, that's associated with the loan money, the USDA loan money that you have. It is, the bond resolution authorizes you and your county manager to proceed with the local government commission application. This document was prepared by your bond counsel, Womble Bond Dickerson, and paired with LGC and staff. But it authorizes you to proceed with this, pursue getting the interim financing for that loan, and to proceed with the application to LGC for the USDA loan. And this would be associated with contract one, which is the water line project for the Phase 1B project. And it was about a year ago when you made the motion to award that. And now we've secured, y'all have secured additional money. We've gone through, jumped through a lot of other things. We're ready to go to LGC and everything's in place, but this one resolution, and then the application will be submitted as long as this passes.
Am I correct? That's a $10.3 million project that we have county funds of 1.7 million. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The majority of that is grant money. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so we need to approve that resolution. What would be the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, has this gone through our water committee? The water committee has agreed to this bond?
We've reviewed all of this stuff previously, yeah.
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, can I say one more thing on the Phase 1B project? So if all goes well, this resolution and the application will be submitted later this week. In September, you should hear from county manager, maybe myself, but we'll want to present to you your options for your interim financing source. The LGC meeting is September 10th. If LGC approves this loan, right after that is when you will finish executing your contract for your contractor that you select or was your bidder. So long story short, mid-September you'll be executing contracts before the end of this year. We should have pre-con and contract ready to go. So I'm not going to say we have shovels on the ground yet by the end of this year, but we'll be very close.
And our low bidder has held their bid until after the September meeting.
We have a lot of pleading on them, and yes, they have held their bid for over a year with the uncertainty on material prices, and yeah, they're ready to. I think this is the last little bit with them, so hopefully everything plays out.
All right.
We get them a signed contract.
Okay.
Thank you,
Dave, do you
Logan.
have any additional to add to the water committee?
I don't, so I can just, give an update. Logan just gave a really good update about Phase 1B, so I'll actually skip that on my water committee report. But, I will talk about the availability fee. The water committee, Brummett, Feemster, and Hester met on Wednesday, July 17th of 2024 to discuss, several customer requests for forgiveness of availability fees, as well as a request to grant customers the opportunity to be released from their contracts. The committee agreed that it is not the direction that they would like to go in at this time. So that's just for your information. And so the second thing was just a brief update on EnviroLink. By their own admission, there have been areas in which EnviroLink has not performed well. And moving forward, there will be increased communication between the county staff and EnviroLink staff as well. And so that's just for your information.
Any other questions or comments?
None.
Okay. I will adjourn the water, the monthly operations board was provided for you, so if there are no questions, we'll adjourn the water district board. Next, we have our finance director's report.
Good evening. So you've received a preliminary year-end financial report on where we stand with our revenues and expenditures for fiscal year 23-24. So there are still some prior year expenditures that we are receiving. So once those are complete, you will get another update. And as well, I'll also be preparing for where we are with fiscal year 24-25. So our revenues currently, we've received $54,419,789 of the amended revenue budget. There was a shortfall of about $4.3 million, and there were several areas where we received less, and those were DSS revenue, sales tax revenue, ambulance, and then also from the city of Henderson. But overall, we have collected 93% of our amended revenue budget. For the expenses, we spent almost 49.5 million of the amended expenditure budget, and above all, a total above equated to us spending about 84% of our amended expenditure. So overall, the revenue we received for fiscal year 23-24 is still over expenditures by $4.9 million. Also, our external audit has begun. So the representatives will be here August 14th and 15th, and again on September 16th and 17th. So the staff and I have been going through information and uploading documentation, and we'll be making sure we keep the county manager abreast of any issues that may pop up with reference to the audit. But we have a schedule, just try to stay on schedule so that we're not further in the year that we just completed, to make sure that we get that done in a timely manner. So I just want to share that with you.
All right.
Ready?
Committee reports.
Yes, sir. So the opioid committee, Austin, Faines, and Feemster, Brummett attending, met on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024, and the county manager provided an update to the committee as it relates to the current opioid fund balance and current status of opioid funds. The consensus of the committee is to have another meeting that includes the opioid committee, the board of county commissioners, and those that the county manager deems necessary to begin planning for the use of the opioid funds. This meeting will be scheduled in late September, early October. The county manager also plans to hold an annual meeting as required per the MOA. And that's just for your information. So the Human Resources Committee, Faines, Feemster, and Taylor, Brummett attending, met on Tuesday, July 23rd of 2024 to discuss implementation of a critical pay and on-call policy. The consensus of the committee is for refinement of the policy as well as the budgetary impact before discussing further. Staff plans to meet towards the end of August to discuss. and that's just for your information. Properties Committee, the REO properties, the Properties Committee, Austin, Brummett, and Taylor met Thursday, July 25th, 2024, to review a request from the City of Henderson to purchase 3 jointly owned real estate owned properties as they have done in the past. The properties are as follows: Daniel Street, Arch Street, and Roberson Street. Assistant City Manager Paler Sproul provided an explanation for the purchase of the properties. The city expects to bundle the properties for workforce housing. A builder has taken a group they offered near Main Street, and they are getting additional inquiries. So the recommendation is to approve the sale and authorize staff to execute the necessary documents to convey the requested jointly owned properties to the City of Henderson.
Pleasure of the board.
You want a motion?
Please.
You got it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Sleeping on that.
No. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
So the Joint Public Safety Committee and Fire Commission met on July 25th of 2024 to discuss implementation of the fire study results. And I won't go through all of these recommendations, but I'll just highlight a few that came out of the meeting week before last. So the first recommendation, something that we thought was easy, was to go ahead and move forward with creation of the fire marshal position per the recommendation of AP Triton and the Joint Committee. Another recommendation was to consider fast forwarding critical calls in the communication center. And so I have been consulting with Vivian to see how we can get that changed quickly as possible. Recommendation 7 was just to improve overall turnout time performance for the Vance County Fire Department. And so I will work with the fire chief as well as the emergency operations director. And just another one to highlight is recommendation 14 was to maximize usage of the image trend software, which is complete per the fire chief. And the recommendation 15 was to analyze districts for certified water points, and that was considered as complete by Darren Small. So those are just a few of the highlights from the committee reports. And so that's just for your information.
With your
County Manager's report? All right. So the first thing on my report is the Farmers Market Week proclamation. The Vance County Board of Commissioners recognizes the importance of expanding agricultural marketing opportunities that assist and encourage the next generation of farmers and ranchers. So the recommendation is to proclaim the week of August the 4th through the 10th, 2024 as Farmers Market Week in Vance County in conjunction with the observance of National Farmers Market Week, and call upon Vance County citizens to celebrate farmers markets with appropriate observance and activities.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, move that we proclaim the week of August 4th through the 10th as Farmers Market Week in Vance County in conjunction with the ordinance of the National Farmers Market Week, and call upon Vance County citizens to celebrate farmer markets with an appropriate observance and activities.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
So there is an opportunity for additional funds, opioid funds, through a Kroger opioid settlement. And so a tentative settlement in the opioid litigation with Kroger must be formally approved by August the 12th of 2024. Our national and local counsel, the Department of Justice, and the NCACC have recommended acceptance of the settlement from Kroger for a $1.37 billion global payout. The anticipated North Carolina share is approximately $40 million. The actual share will depend upon the level of participation in the settlement by all 100 counties in North Carolina, so similar to the previous settlements. The pharmacy settlement is being administered pursuant to the supplemental agreement for additional funds, which is simply an extension of the original MOA. Therefore, to cover the Kroger settlement and handle it consistently with prior settlements, the North Carolina DOJ has drafted a second supplemental agreement for additional funds for approval by participating counties. And so the recommendation is to formally authorize execution of the Kroger settlement and the SAAF-2 by retroactively approving the county manager's signature on the agreement.
I believe we discussed this in a previous meeting. So we just need a motion to formally execute that document tonight.
Make that motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved.
So, Mr. Chairman, I am going to skip Board of E&R because, per our county attorney, we need to open the Board of E&R so y'all can agree to schedule those additional dates while the Board of E&R is open. So I'm gonna run through my report and we can do that towards the end if that's okay.
Okay,
Is it okay?
just remind me.
Okay, I will. So Granville Vance Health Department, Lisa Harrison is seeking a letter of support for application effort to Health Resources and Services Administration to apply for apply for the Health Department to become a new access point for a federally qualified health center. So the recommendation is to consider approving the letter of support in your agenda packet.
Chairman, I recommend that we consider approving the letter of support.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Okay, so the next thing is your legislative goals. The NCACC 24-25 legislative goals process is underway. The deadline to submit goals to the association is August the 23rd of 2024. The enclosed goals handbook provides a detailed summary of the legislative goals process. Commissioner Brummett submitted the following goals for consideration. Legislation that will enable the support of families affected by mental health and substance abuse disorders. Families have limited resources and support and are struggling immensely dealing with those issues. The second one is legislation that will continue ACP, which is the Affordable Connectivity Program. Legislation that will repeal the Corporate Transparency Act. The intent of the BOI reporting requirement is to help U.S. law enforcement combat money laundering, the financing of terrorism, and other illicit activities. It is not affordable to small business owners and can be a gross invasion on rights of privacy. And the last proposed goal is legislation that reduces the time frame for erosion control assessment. We will also submit those goals that are considered as continuation goals from 2022. And so the recommendation is to consider approving the recommended legislative goals.
Mr. Chairman, recommend we approve the recommended goals as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Okay. So position request for the fire marshal per the recommendation of AP Triton Fire Commission and the Public Safety Committee. I am requesting a new position effective immediately. The total cost of the new position to include salary, fringes, and benefits is estimated to be between $80,688 and $102,014. So the recommendation is just to consider the creation of the fire marshal position effective immediately so that we can begin the recruitment and selection process. Once a candidate is selected, there will be a request for a budget amendment to fund the new role and create a separate department for the fire marshal's office. And that position will report directly to me.
Pleasure.
So Madam Chairman, Madam Chairperson, do we want to consider this or do we just want to do it?
I believe the proposal from our
Consider a
manager
fire
is,
marshal, or do we want to go on and approve that we establish a fire?
I think the recommendation from our county manager is to go ahead and approve that position.
No, the recommendation is to consider the approval. As opposed to approving. Go ahead. And so I want to recommend we approve the fire marshal.
Okay. All right.
I second it.
So we have a motion and we have a second. So, is there any other discussion?
No.
All right. And I guess that that job position is something we already had previously. So I guess we just need to review that.
Job description. Yeah, yeah, and figure out what we want it to look like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
And the next thing is the fireworks permit for tourism. The Vance County Tourism Department is requesting approval of a fireworks permit for its New Year's Eve celebration at Satterwhite Point Park at Car Lake, on Tuesday, December 31st, 2024. According to Tourism Director Pam Hester, the TDA will obtain the necessary permits and approvals from the North Carolina State Parks and the Corps of Engineers, and the show will be contracted with a professional pyrotechnics firm, which has the appropriate credentials and insurance coverage. The recommendation is to approve the request from tourism for a permit and fee waiver to discharge fireworks at its New Year's Eve celebration at Satterwhite Point at Car Lake, planned for December 31st, 2024, contingent upon the necessary approvals from the fire marshal.
Okay, and it's my understanding that's state property, so that fire marshal, delegation would be from the state office rather than from our local.
Okay,
So.
I'll confirm that with, okay,
Confirm that.
okay, I will.
Say it again?
State fire marshal.
That's a state property, the park is,
Mhm.
and so it's subject to state.
Instead of
regulation rather
Vance
than
County Fire Marshal.
You gonna check on that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, what's the pleasure?
Motion to approve the request.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
No.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So the last item on my report is just to remind you all for your September meeting, instead of it being Monday, that's a holiday. So your meeting will be on Tuesday, September the 3rd, 2024, 6 p.m.
All right, you want to do the ENR thing now?
Open the board of ENR.
You want to open up?
Yes, sir.
ENR now?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll open the Board of ENR.
Okay, so with almost 1,500 appeals and the possibility of increased appeals to the Board of Equalization and Review, we should establish dates for the Board of ENR to meet. The next meeting will be August 19th, 2024, beginning at 4 p.m. But I would like for you to consider and approve the scheduling of additional days for the Board of ENR to be held during your regular work schedules for the rest of the year. So those dates would be August the 19th, 2024, September 16th, 2024, October 21st, 2024, and November 18th for 24, starting at 4 p.m.
November what?
Yeah, October 21st.
Third Monday.
It's the third Monday. So it's already your scheduled work session meetings that are already in place.
Do ENR rather than do
Yeah, do your work sessions.
work sessions.
Yeah, because we're gonna need those dates for sure. We already have 20 for August 19th,
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Right, they want a new schedule.
Ms. Berry, you said that there may be additional appeals added. Have they not wrapped up their informal
No.
reviews of those appeals?
Mm-mm. No. Yeah,
All right, so I guess we need.
They're
to
not
vote
done.
On that.
Yeah.
To schedule those.
hmm
Put in the motion to accept these dates.
Do we have a motion for the scheduled dates? We have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We adjourn the board week, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Adjourn.
Yes.
Consent agenda?
County Attorney's report.
Oh, I'm sorry. Move along.
Mr. Chairman, this evening we have one resolution for you to consider. It is the final acceptance. It's a piece of property that we approved back in June, if I recall correctly, on Red Clay Lane. The upset bid process worked, and the final amount that is being offered for that particular piece of property is $3,450. So this evening, you will either approve or disapprove that offer.
Okay, this is one that I think the original bid was like $900 and we ended up at $3,450. So what would be the pleasure of the board?
A motion that we accept the upset bid, the final upset bid.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution accepting the bid. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Spunky, really spunky tonight. All right, consent agenda. What's the pleasure?
Move we accept the improve the consent agenda.
Your motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next miscellaneous, Kelly.
We have appointments for the month. Excuse me, the Economic Development Commission, Ruxton Bobbitt and Dan Brummett are up for reappointment. Commissioners Sean Alston and Tommy Hester have expressed interest in being appointed. The Industrial Park Board, Sean Alston and Dan Brummett are up for reappointment, and Commissioner Tommy Hester has expressed interest in being appointed. And in the Audit Committee, we received 2 applications, one from Amanda Spivey and one from Mark Woodliff.
What's the pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion on the Economic Development Commission that I withdraw my thing and I nominate Sean Austin.
Second that. I'll second that.
In what place?
And first one on the Commissioner for Economic Development.
There are 2 seats available. What seat do you want to recommend him to replace?
Well, basically, I had a question for Kelly. Don't we have to have a person from the community?
Ma'am?
Do we have to have a person from the community to be in the second seat, one commissioner and one community person, or is it open?
Open.
I think there's a requirement for a commissioner seat, but a commissioner can fill any other seat. So what seat were you? There are 2.
I'm making 2 nominations, and I'm just gonna make 2 nominations, the county attorney says, and the 2 nominations will be, Ruxton Bobbitt and Sean Austin.
I'll make a motion that we look at them separately. That we go ahead and vote on, the commissioner seat first and then look at the secondary seat next.
Okay, so that's what the motion was that you made, was just for the EDC. Okay,
So what are we voting on now?
right now, what Tommy has made a motion was to reappoint Ruxton Bobbitt and to appoint Sean Austin to the EDC. And the Industrial Park Board is not part of this motion right now.
Just the EDC, the first one. We'll get to this one after we finish this one. Watch. One at a time.
So you can entertain that motion to be separate.
They are separated. Tommy only made a motion for the Economic Development Commission.
No, I'm saying the
Did
two
who's he
positions on
recommended?
the economic,
Huh?
the 2
Who's Tommy
positions on the.
recommended?
Oh, you want to separate?
Yeah, 3 people interested.
That was his motion. That was correct.
So I would like to do it seat by seat.
Okay, all right, so Tommy has made a motion, so Tommy would have the ability to accept that by friendly amendment.
He seconded, didn't it?
Yeah.
He
Second that
seconded.
motion.
I'm confused now. Let's slow
What-
it down.
What,
We have, as I understand this, we have a motion from Tommy and a second to keep Bobbitt and appoint Sean Austin to, I guess, serve in replacing Dan Brummett. Is that the way I understand it?
that was his motion, and what Ms. Femster has
We
suggested.
had a second for that.
Is a second for that, and what Ms. Femster is asking for a friendly amendment, I guess, to entertain these in each position be voted separately.
As our attorney, what's the protocol in terms of, there's a motion on the floor and there's a second.
So that would either be a friendly amendment, or if it was not a friendly amendment, then that motion to amend can be made and seconded. You vote on that, and then you go to the main motion, depending on how that motion to amend plays out.
So do you want to entertain that, Mr. Hester, as a friendly amendment?
Mr. Chairman, I'd much rather just leave things as they are.
Okay, do you want?
I have a motion and a second, vote on it.
I would like to make a motion that we amend so that the positions can be looked at separately. We have 3 people. That's pretty much interested, but we have 2 seats. So I would like, what a person may necessarily believe that that one position they may not necessarily believe in the other. So I feel like to give each commissioner a chance to actually vote for the individuals that they want to fill those positions, I think it would be in the best interest we voted on those separately. And that's just my opinion.
Okay, so she has a motion for separation. Is there a second? There's not a second.
You can't second.
The chair can't second. Motion dies for lack of second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Okay. I didn't hear from 2 of you.
You didn't hear 2-1.
I didn't hear 2 of you vote. We have a bit different. Okay,
Archie?
Okay.
Yes.
okay. All right. So it's 4-2. All right. Now we move on to the Industrial Park Board.
Motion.
I'm making a motion that we add Tommy Hester and replace Dan Brummett on Industrial Park Board.
I'll second that.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
It's 4-2. And it changes to Sean Austin and Tommy Hester. Audit Committee. We have 2 applications received. We have 3 positions available.
I've had an opportunity to look over the 2 individuals who've applied. I think they have a lot of experience. They have a lot of standing here in Vance County. I think they'll bring a lot to the audit committee. So I would recommend we approve those, 2 applicants who've applied for the, positions on the audit committee. Okay.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, let me ask you a question here. This audit committee is not a standing committee.
It is.
It's one of our standing committees.
It's actually, it's a committee that I believe the auditors have required it to be, and it has not been functioning in that.
The auditor could have recommended. They
Auditors
could not have
recommended. It's been
required
recommended.
anything.
It's been recommended by the auditors for some period of time, and we're trying to reinstitute that committee.
So this is a new committee. Not a standing committee, it's a new committee.
Well,
That's recommended by the audit.
the committee, Tommy Hester and myself served on the committee previously, and being no changes, both of us are on the committee. When it was previously.
Well, when was that previously done?
We did that. That's been probably 4 or 5 years since we've met, correct?
How long ago was that?
It's been 4 or 5 years since we've actually met.
That's what I thought. I've never heard of this committee.
Yeah.
So it's been 4 or 5 years since we've had this.
Yeah,
So the position, now we are resurrecting this
correct.
committee.
And Mr. Hester's agreed to serve.
And question, we got 2 names down here. Was this open to other people to consider where these 2 names come from? Did anybody else have an opportunity to apply to serve on this committee?
Kelly, it's advertised, right? It's advertised on our website, just all of our, like all of our other committees.
So you was not always on.
So when was this advertised?
Yes, Tommy.
It's always advertised, just like everything else.
Okay, so we had a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion?
Just for the record, there's one more. If you and Tommy are doing it and
There's one more seat available.
yeah, one
Mhm,
more seat
yeah.
available, so.
Yeah.
You want it?
And,
Leo?
and I think we already,
It's got one more. Do you want it?
yeah, we got one more seat on the committee.
Okay.
Archie, do you want it?
Do you want to be on the audit committee?
Yeah. Put Archie.
I've asked somebody that's supposed to be filling.
Archie.
Okay, I mean, I have someone that just hadn't got the application.
You got Archie.
Okay. All right.
I didn't see
All
them.
right.
How long to see?
Who made the original motion? You did?
Yolanda, and I second it.
You want to go with Archie? Add Archie to that?
Don't nobody else want it. The Archie.
Well, I mean, you can, yeah.
We can keep it open until.
I don't have a problem. I nominate Archie.
Okay,
Taylor
so
for-
now we have another third Archie's added to it. Okay, all right. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed?
Nay,
You say aye or nay? You said both.
nay to no one opposed. So we have anonymous votes, so
Okay,
next subject.
all right, motion passes. Nothing else for tonight. Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second. We're done.
You forgot all about me.
Hi, farmer's market.